Does LSU interim coach Frank Wilson have a future on this LSU staff? We're going to get into that and explain how you maximize value, recruiting value, and on-field coaching value on your coaching staff. That is the topic today. Please hit the subscribe button, share, like. Many of you listen. We appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. It will never cost anything. It will just allow us to continue to grow. So hit that subscribe button. And special thanks to our sponsor today. Patronize them. The Strong Coffee Company. Receive 25% off using our link, which is pinned below in our comment. So, been asked a lot about the future of Frank Wilson at LSU. He's been a longtime staffer, a couple of times, been working in the college game for a while, known basically as a recruiter. Not a difference maker as an on-the-field coach, but an absolute difference maker, both as a recruiter and as a guy that understands and feels the pulse of the team and is a confidant of the players on the team. He is the guy that under Brian Kelly, because Brian was very much detached from the team, didn't meet with players a lot, only talked to them in meetings. The players went to Frank Wilson. He was the guy that counseled them, helped them, personal problems, family problems, whatever, football issues, he was there for. So he has great value there. People are asking, well, find a spot for him, what you can do it. Let me explain the rules and how the rules have changed and evolved over the years. You can only have 10 guys on your coaching staff that are allowed to go out and recruit. You can have analysts, and prior to 2024, they could not coach on the field, they could not recruit, but they can work in the coaching staff, with the coaching staff, and do a lot of film breakdowns. In 2024, the rules were changed. Analysts can coach on field. They can't go recruit. So when you're talking about putting together a staff, there are a lot of things, there's more flexibility now than ever before. And I do this a lot with coaching staff, trying to work with them, with head coaches, looking at their staff. I always say, build your staff on two factors. First of that, let me mention that analysts normally are considered below coaches. They make less. The position coach is kind of the authority at that position. And so you have to have the buy-in from the people. And I wanted to bring that out before I go through some of the suggestions I have. As a head coach, you have to look at a couple of things. Who are your best on-field coaches? Who are the guys that can help you develop players the best, develop their technique, develop their skills, help with the best game plans? Those are important. Guy that can do that very well and be a good recruiter is worth his weight in gold. Usually guys are better at one than the other. I always say make your staff out in two forms. Recruiting staff and an on-field coaching staff. And try to blend them and try to coordinate with the different coaches. For example, I believe you can find some veteran coaches that are really good teachers and are really savants when it comes to helping part of a game plan. They may be specialists on the defensive side on coverages. They may be special in teaching the running game on offense or the passing game, whatever the case may be. But because they're older, they're not overly excited about recruiting and getting out on the road and doing that. Now, analysts can recruit on campus. They can't go off campus. Those guys have value. If you can convince that type of guy to take an analyst role, you can put at that particular role on the field somebody in a coaching position that's more recruiter than coach. Let me give you an example. If you look at, say, LSU staff right now, they've got like 13 guys. Well, only 10 of them can coach on field. So what does it tell you? That some of them are going to be on-field coaches but are not going to have a recruiting role. You can do that. But again, are you paying them as much as the position coach? If not, do they want to do it? All valid questions and all problematic when it comes to getting guys to accept certain roles. In the case of Frank Wilson, he is not the guy you would pick ultimately to be your best candidate as a running back coach. But he would be an elite recruiter and an elite with working with players on the field. Does Frank Wilson want to take a role where he is one of the 10 coaches, but maybe he is taking a backseat to, say, a running back coach that is really good teaching the running game, really good teaching running backs, or maybe, let's just say, better than Frank? Well, I don't know that. It's part of an ego thing, and it's monetarily. If you're willing to pay them and they really want to be there, then they might take that role. You don't know until you sit down and speak with them. Also, if you are, quote unquote, have a title, but you really doesn't necessarily do exactly what you think the title does, that happens all the time. You have a lot of people sometimes that don't have the title that really do more of the job than somebody that does have the title. It's a new process that people are looking at, because since 2024, it is a way to maximize your on-field coaching value as well as your recruiting value. So if you look at it, you've got 10 guys that you can put on the field that can recruit. I think you want to look at it from a recruiting standpoint. What are the best guys you can put out there from a recruiting standpoint? And then look at how much are you giving up as an on-the-field coach. And if you are, can you convince someone that is a better on-the-field coach at that position to take that role in an analyst role where they will be in the office every day? They can coach on the field. They can coach players in season, out of season. They can be an impact even when the recruiters are out on the road recruiting players. And they can take part in recruiting on campus. So when you hear things, well, you can't do this. You can't do that. Don't have enough spot. No, you can. It's just how you manipulate it. And it doesn't, for a guy like Frank Wilson, he would not be. People have said, why not make him an analyst? Why would you make him an analyst? An analyst needs to be stronger, you would hope, unless he's more of a younger, inexperienced person that's going to be more into the analytics and the generic film breakdown. You don't want to take a guy who's a specialist as a recruiter and put him in an analyst role. He can't go out and recruit. Defeats the purpose. But you can put one of those guys, Frank Wilson would be one of them, for example, in a position role, coaching a position, let's say running backs. But then have somebody, if Kevin Smith, for example, who Lane Kiffin, I think, thinks highly of and would like to bring as a running back coach at Ole Miss, would he be willing to, if you paid him commensurate amount, be the on-the-field coach, but he wouldn't be able to go on the road recruiting? Well, you have to evaluate. This is how you do it. You have to evaluate, and you've heard me talk, if those of you that have listened before, there are critical factors and position specifics for every player and every coach. You have to evaluate all aspects of grading them as a recruiter and grading them as an on-the-field coach. And the ideal situation is your 10 on-the-field coaches are also highly graded as recruiters. If you can manipulate it to where you can put someone that is in a non-recruiting role in an analyst position that could maybe have more of an impact at the on-field coaching position and the coach that is a recruiter at that position is okay with it, that's what you like to try to do. I don't know, in this case, what Lane Kiffin is going to do. It's going to be up to him. First of all, can he get everybody lined up that he wants to? Ole Miss is still trying to convince a couple of them to stay. We've got 4 of those coaches that are going to help Ole Miss in the playoffs. You better believe Ole Miss is going to try to sell them financially and responsibility-wise that, hey, you would be better off over here. Particularly on the offensive side where, hey, as an offensive coordinator, you can do your own thing. The loyalty to Lane, the importance of working under Lane will have to be weighed versus doing your own thing. LSU feels pretty good about those guys all coming back. But I do think it's important to understand that you have some flexibility on your coaching staff, and you need to maximize it. And again, I think there's great value in somebody being a savant at film grading, analysis, on the field coaching, and having an impact in both the training, development, and the game plan, and the overall philosophy on offense, defense, special teams. I think that is very valuable. I think you see a lot of special teams coaches or analysts. They essentially are coaching the special teams. They're organizing everything. They're doing it inside, but they can't go recruit. Maximize recruiters and then put your best coaches in a position, because you do not want to have a weakness coaching, but you want to maximize, and you don't want to have a weakness as a recruiter. But you hear this a lot about, well, they can't do this. They don't have a spot for this one or that one. You can make a spot, but can you get the buy-in from the coaches to take a non-recruiting role or an analyst role? If you pay them well and you have the financial structure to do that, you can absolutely get that done. Don't see a analyst that gets $1 million in most cases, like maybe a position coach. You know, if you got someone that is that impactful on the field, you could do that. If they're willing to do that and don't have the ego to, hey, have their name as the guy that's doing this, you can work it. So it is complex. And it is something we talk about as coaches and with staffs. This is some of the things you can do. I think we need to look at that going forward around the country as how people will try to best figure out to maximize both. You look at the staffs, you look at different roles, analysts off the field, you have a number of people, 10, 12, sometimes 15, 18 people, but they're different types of analysts. Some that are more of an entry level, some of them more of a background, but then now you're seeing some analysts that are more out front on the field coaching. Organizing your staff in today's world is much more important because you're balancing egos, you're balancing duties, and you have to clearly define the role for each, and you got to have the buy-in from everyone. That's the challenge. We'll see with all of these coaching staffs that are being hired. There's a number of these head coaching openings pretty much done. How do they handle their coaching staff? So check that out. We appreciate it. We'll keep you up to date. We really appreciate you joining us again. Thanks to our sponsor today, Strong Coffee. Receive 25% off by using the link printed below in the comments. Give us a like, give us a follow, share it with your friends. Make sure that you subscribe to help us out. It's free. It helps us grow. We like to keep it free for you. Appreciate you joining us. Talk to you again next time, everybody.